Joining me in the Strike King booth, Mr. Mark Menendez. Mark, you're here to tell us all about some great new Strike King products here at ICAST 2023. What do we have in the KVD Jerkbait family?
Well, a jerkbait is one of my favorite baits, Joey, and we've got new colors in the KVD Elite series, some of the most amazing translucents that you've ever seen. Great colors, great hooks come on these baits, and you've already tried to steal this one once.
I did.
We'll have to take the hooks off of it. This is one of the most beautiful jerkbaits I've ever seen. The 300 deep model is, boy, it is a very good model. Get that bait down in that 8 to 10 foot range to get it closer to those fish so those fish don't have as far to come to it. Great action, great hookup on these baits, but these colors are amazing in clean water, which is ultra important with a jerkbait. We've also got a new model in the 300. This one right here is the 300 deep. It's a sinking model. So for those forward sonar fish that you're seeing out there at 8, 10, 15 feet water, get the bait down, then allow the bait just to sink right in their face. Efficiency at its max with the 300 deep sinking model. All the great colors available in that. But there are times, Joey, with a jerkbait that you need a bait that's kind of subdued and not really bright and flashy, not like a big circus trick, you know, a Las Vegas circus trick, but in the matte finishes. We have the new matte finishes as well. You can see that this old sugar model right here has got a little bit of pop to it with that white bottom, but the upper part of the body is just nice and soft and natural looking. Great thing with a jerkbait, it either needs to be wild and crazy and loud, or it needs to be real soft and real vulnerable in the color. So the matte finishes come in the 200 series and the 300 series as well. So a great array of jerkbaits for every situation, every watercolor situation, every species of bass that you got and more. So we're really thrilled with all these new colors and these new baits to be coming into our line.
You know, I already have that problem of having too many jerkbaits, so I guess this is just exacerbating that tangle in my garage. Definitely some beautiful new finishes. Love the matte stuff. You know,
yeah, this is a first for us to come to this style of color, and I look for this color line to morph over into some of our crankbaits and red-eyed shads and things like that. And then with forward-facing being such a force in the fishing market now, in the catching market, really, the deep suspending and sinking model is going to be a hammer.
Can't wait to give these a try myself. These are all going to be available soon at tacklewarehouse.com. Up next in the Strike King booth, just some of the cutest little guys. Miniature versions of some of the favorite hard baits from Strike King.
Bitsy versions.
Bitsy versions.
Bitsy versions. Little
They're
Bitsy
synonyms.
stuff. It's all about the same, yes.
But the brand is the Bitsy series from Strike
Absolutely.
King. Tell us all about it.
You know, Joey, as a touring pro, I'm in the boat, I'm on the road all the time, and this is one of the things I do just to unwind. I get a dirty pair of tennis shoes, I go to a local creek, and I just disappear and fish for little creek fish, and sometimes some big surprises in a creek with little small baits. It's how I decompress and get to fish some too. So now we have the Bitsy series of baits, a Bitsy spinner, a Bitsy red-eyed shad, a Bitsy jerkbait, a Bitsy sexy dog, and then a Bitsy splash. Other times on the tour, I need these when we've had a spawn of some kind of a bait fish. Right after the bass spawn, they're looking for something small and easy. These small lures really come in handy to get those fish to react. Can't tell you how many times I've been on smallmouth waters, throwing my normal standard size baits, go to bigger size baits, can't get a bite, and then go to something diminutive and load the boat with them. Lots of fun, lots of applications for each of these baits.
Yeah, and it looks like we have a bunch of different designs. We have a little jerkbait. We got a little spinner.
A little inline spinner that we've all grown up fishing with. A tiny red-eyed shad. That's really great when those shad are just first spawn. They're in those little clumps of schools around individual pieces of cover. Rip that thing, drop it beside it. This one right here, does that not look like a minnow? Just that little dude right there. That's going to get bit by just about every species in the lake. So that's what they're for. They're have fun, catch a lot of fish, and we've got them in just about every shape, fashion, form you need.
You know, I didn't want to prompt you on this because I thought you were going to go down the pond route, which you certainly did, ponds and creeks, but I've seen firsthand, it sounds like you have too, when the bait's small and you're able to actually match it and you're just trying to get a bite and all of a sudden you're connected on a 5-6 pounder and you were just please let me get a bite.
Oh yes, and another thing that's really tough, At one of our last tournaments in Alabama on the Coosa River, I found some schooling fish, and I had nothing they would bite. And I finally went to a diminutive Z2, a baby Z2, and was able to catch those fish and start my day with 10 pounds every day.
Yeah.
Made my tournament, made it easy.
Yeah.
Little baits catch big fish sometimes.
Absolutely.
And they catch a lot of fish a lot of the time.
Yeah. And you know what I'm really impressed with here is that the hardware is actually ready to stand up to a decent sized fish.
Absolutely. You know, it'll be up to you. This is one that you're not going to pull the fish hard with.
Sure.
You'll have to use some skill and play that fish back and forth to the boat.
Right.
But you'll catch them with these little super sharp little bitty hooks on them.
Awesome, beautiful new designs. This is the brand new Bitsy series, available soon at tacklewarehouse.com. All right, up next, we have two really interesting baits. You just said it, this will be interesting. These are a couple of really interesting baits. Something that we do a lot of in the West is spider grubbing or hula grubbing. This is a new Luau craw, isn't that right?
Absolutely, and it takes the rage craw with a skirted collar on it, and it's the big size rage craw. So you've got plenty of bulk, Joey. You've got plenty of bulk to call those fish from distance, but you've got the little tentacles here that this thing stands up, very straight up and down just like that, with either a football head or any kind of grub head that you want. What it is, it's a little Snickers bar morsel is what it is. And there are those times in those style of reservoirs in which you need big, but it needs to be little too. Yeah. So that's what's so interesting about this. I can't wait to throw this on a bed. That's going to be a lot of fun. I can't wait to get around spotted bass with this. Can't wait to get around smallmouth with this. So the luau craw, it's going to be a big party with this. There's no doubt about it. The productivity of a rage craw with this new shape and new collar on the top of it, it's a really cool mix of a bait. So I'm really proud to show that one off.
That is really cool. And you know, you forgot your coconut top and grass skirt. I'm pretty sad about that.
Jimmy Buffett style shoes, Jimmy Buffett style hat, that's what I'll be wearing when I'm fishing that for sure.
I like it. You know what's been amazing over the years with this style of bait is that you would think it would just translate, all right, if they're biting this, they're gonna bite a compact football jig, but there's times where they're just keyed in on that skirted soft plastic.
Especially in clean, clear water.
Yes.
That skirted soft plastic creates a whole different illusion. It's not quite as dense as fine rubber is on your jig, so it creates a new look, and that's what we need to have sometimes.
If everybody's on a jig bite, this is definitely giving the fish a
different look.
Right?
Absolutely.
Yeah. So that's awesome. That's the luau craw. And up next, we have something really unique. Tell us all about this.
It's the Rage Hawk. This is a bait that you're going to be able to play with many different ways. I think it's going to be fantastic on a Ned style retrieve. Long cast, dragging it back. It's going to be a nice little small Carolina rig. But the thing about it I love the most is the Rage. That flange that comes on all your Rage style plastics creates so much vibration, so much pull, and so much feel that this little small morsel right here is going to catch some big fish.
You know, there's nothing worse than flipping in or setting the hook on your Carolina rig or Texas rig, coming in, your claws are gone. And sometimes the fish are just in that mood, right?
Right.
And if they bite the claws on this bait, they're going to get the hook, right?
Exactly. You've got a good size body here to put a good size hook in, bury that back in the very tip of the hawk, and then any nipper that you get, he belongs in your live well.
You know what we've seen a lot of over the years across the country is veteran grass fishermen punching, downsizing to teeny tiny baits. I think this is going to be a killer grass fishing punch bait.
I agree with you. It's small, compact, and it'll go right into those holes in the grass.
Really, really looking forward to seeing this guy. Both this great brand new bait and the luau craw are going to be available soon at tacklewarehouse.com. Must be getting randy thinking about you and coconut top and grass skirt, Mark.
Easy now.
Because guess what we have coming up? Last up, we have Sexy 2.0, right? The Sexy Shad 2.0. Available in all our favorite soft plastic colors.
Absolutely.
And also vibrating jig.
How many fish have been caught with Sexy Shad? We brought that years ago, very successful color, very good bait fish color. Now it's almost like a matted finish in the plastic. Something that you can blend with a jig, something you can fish on a swim bait, all the shapes that you've always loved, caffeine shad, all of them in this color. And also bringing the color in the Thunder Crickets. Man, 2.0, I can't wait to see what 3.0 is going to be. This is a great color all around, all across the nation, anywhere you are. Sexy Shad 2.0.
Gorgeous colors, available soon at Tackle Warehouse. Definitely bringing sexy back. That's it for Mark Menendez in the Strike King booth. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
Joining me next in the Strike King booth is the man behind a lot of the great designs of Strike King, Mr. Todd Castledine, here to tell us all about a great new crankbait from Strike King, the new Gravel Dog 8 and 10. Isn't that right?
Yeah, that's right. And this crankbait, wow, this is where I wanted to start from, because it started from basically scratch. This is the first ever prototype that I look at it. It's glued, it's got glue all over it. I was dribbling it. I mean, this is it. I really was just trying to figure out, we knew we wanted the 1.5 body, and we knew we kind of wanted something to like do some different things. So I was like, I just got to get something to start off with, right? I just need from there, and then we can kind of keep going.
Sure.
So I literally cut off the bill. We put a Series 4 bill. That's the bill I kind of wanted it fit right. And the Series 4 bill is different than all the other bills.
Right.
So I put it on there, literally on the boat, glued it, and I went to this lake. It was real clear. And I was out there throwing it, just trying to get it to make sure it was running right. As I'm doing that, I'm watching the water. I catch one. I was really worried about getting it in the boat. It was glue and everything. So I keep throwing around. I started catching them on it. By the third or fourth one, I was going, I'm just trying to test it out. I called up the Strike King team, and I was like, hey man, I think I might have something here. So I instantly sent it to Kevin. I had to tell Kevin, like, hey man, don't lose this thing. It might be the one. So he looks at it. I had to get his approval. He was like, hey man, you got it. We got something here. So it wasn't completely done, but that's where it all started. So it's a 1.5 deep body with a Series 4 bill, and literally that's what came out with next. Shane 3D printed it, got it all. We couldn't throw this one, but we at least had the body to start working with it. We honestly didn't do too much with it. I rely on Kevin for like getting it from 90% to like 100%. So he knows how to like perfectly weight it, do all this stuff. They worked together, came from here. Then we had Mike Russell, who is now on board with Strike King. He might be one of the best painters there ever is. We wanted all new paint jobs, like state-of-the-art paint jobs. So he starts painting on them. We go from all that to these right there. And so it was kind of, I don't know, I'm not saying, somehow we caught magic in the bottle on the first try, because I made a couple more of these. None of them were as good as the first one.
Really, really cool. I saw this particular one, or one just like it, about 6 months ago, and I gotta say I was a little underwhelmed. It was like the big reveal,
I know.
right? But seeing the finished products, this is a beautiful crankbait. Tell us a little bit about the actual function of this bait, where you're gonna look to throw it, what time of year, etc.
So I started off as, I'm sure y'all know me, I'm still kind of the fisherman, right? I still fish, and so I just care more about a bait catching fish.
Yeah.
So when I was catching fish on it, I was more or less going, hey, it's a fish catcher. Let's figure out what it kind of does.
Yeah.
And as we started messing around with it, this thing grabs a hold of the bottom. And when you reel it down, it is always just connecting to the bottom, and it hunts like crazy. When you get one that hunts, a lot of times what happens is it starts to blow out.
Yeah.
This thing never blows out. No matter how far it gets out here, it'll catch and still come back. Even on like coming up stuff, that's what we noticed. Now, the bill though, a lot of guys looked at the bill instantly and was like, hey man, that thing's probably gonna come through brush. We kind of designed it more for why it's called the Gravel Dog, for that rock type application. Then all of a sudden I'd hear all the guys that are starting throwing them, they're like, hey, you can't get this hung up.
Sure.
So we kind of knocked out two birds with one stone. So they're like, we're throwing it in the brush. You got other guys trying to throw it in the rocks. So it's one of those baits that just kind of, I'm telling you, it just kind of magically happened. And like I said, I cared more about it that it was one of those fish catchers.
Sure.
And so that's what everyone told me about, that I was like, that's what I wanted to hear. And so yeah, it was pretty unique. I know it could be underwhelming by the look, but then when you start throwing it, like they were all telling me about what it could do.
Yeah.
But then they all were like, well, I was catching fish the whole time with it.
Right. So all the feedback I've heard from guys that have had this for several months now has been just what you said. it just gets bites. It just
Right.
catches fish. So I know there's a lot of people that are going to be excited, for this kind of mid-depth crankbait addition to the Strike King lineup. Really excited to get that in my boat, see what it can do, and some great new colors, as you mentioned.
Yeah, the colors are like next level. Like
Yeah.
they really went to, in this whole thing with Strike King and these lures, like we have a chance sometimes when we come out with a new bait to just go all new colors just about. So like that, we really wanted to focus on like trying to get like the best colors out there.
Really cool. Tons of great craws. I think a few good shads too.
Yeah, so I look sometimes more at the shad deal just because of where I live.
Right.
And that's what's cool. Like you're gonna have guys in certain places look more about that, but I look at it more sometimes around, like that's why I brought this one over. Like that,
Yeah.
I think that's my favorite one, is that one right there. So I know the crawl colors, like everyone's gonna freak out about the,
Sure.
and I know this is the crawl color, but I see the shad in it.
Yeah. Well, it's kind of that cross, like as it's blurring by the
Right.
fish, it's just food, right?
Correct.
So lots of great colors, a great new design in the Gravel Dog 8 and 10. That's going to be available soon at tacklewarehouse.com. And that is it from the Strike King booth. Mr. Todd Castledine, thank you so much for joining us for Tackle Warehouse First Look.